I know you saw that thumbnail, and guess what? It is not clickbait. This is truth. The A7 IV sucks for real estate video. It's not just my opinion. It's also the opinion of the agents I work with. Let's dive into why. Dang! I can't believe he just said that. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate and a lot of flack, but it's the truth, at least from my experience. Not just from my experience. This is actually my experience dealing in a real world working environment with this camera and agents and agencies. Their opinion, my opinion, the customer's opinion. And as we've all heard at one point, the customer's always right, quote unquote. I mean, at least what the agent wants is always right because they're the one ordering from you, right? If you change something and they don't like it, they have the right to ask you to go back. I mean, they don't necessarily have to get that, but they have the right to ask. So let's talk about why. Let's talk about my problems. Oh my gosh, I can't even get it out. Let's talk about my biggest problem with the A7 IV. And I noticed it, but my agents specifically noticed it. If you're shooting HD 60, this video may not apply to you because, you know what? Actually, it does apply to you because I've had this exact same problem, whether it be in HD or 4K mode with the A7 IV in particular, and it's the noise. Now, when this camera came out, you saw lots of influencers out there talking about how little noise this video provides. Well, let me just tell you that that is not accurate. Compared to my GH5S, which was released, hell, 8 years before this camera, low light scenarios are uncomparable. Once you get past 3500 ISO on the A7 IV, you can see a constant degradation of film quality. That's not the same for the GH5S. I've shot the GH5S on its highest ISO possible, and it still looks better than 5000 on the A7 IV. The fact of the matter is that the grain pattern is high, obtrusive, and noticeably there on the A7 IV, where it's not on other cameras designed specifically for film. Now, I've talked about this before. I believe that has something to do with the fact that the A7 IV is a hybrid, so it has a higher pixel count for photography, and that probably interferes with its low light performance. I love the A7 IV's photos. I use it every day as my real estate photo camera, but I do not use it as my video camera anymore. I have gone back to the GH5S. Now, I did recently get asked if I would upgrade to the GH6 over the GH5S, and I'll make another video talking about that because I'll make another video going over a bunch of comments I've received lately. It's too hard to kind of reply to each one individually. So if you're someone who's commented on my channel in the past like 2 weeks, just stay up tuned for the next video I'm going to make because I'll be addressing all of those in an individual video. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. You hear it everywhere. Use my affiliate links. Help me make some money. That'd be awesome, right? You don't have to pay me anything. Or join my members program. Watch how I edit videos. Anyway, let's get back to the subject matter. And we're going to keep going on really that ISO being the biggest problem, the noise grain. That is what all of my agents noticed. Another thing they noticed is that it just didn't look the same. And they didn't know how to describe it. What they were trying to say is that the colors look different, or just the atmosphere of the film itself look different. And that's very true. The difference between the GH5S and the A7 IV are totally different. And I'm not saying I recommend you using the GH5S over the A7 IV or the GH5S is the best video camera ever. I'm just using this as a reference point. So if you got mad hate, I guess you can comment down below, but it doesn't really matter because this is my opinion and the reason I stopped using the A7 IV. The GH5S simply performs better in low light. And the majority of houses people are doing videos of have small rooms where low light is required. Shots with the A7 IV in a basement are terrible, totally noisy. And another reason the A7 IV is horrible for real estate videography is because that 4K 60 goes into APS-C crop mode, which wouldn't necessarily be such a big issue. But I've noticed over time that it doesn't matter what lens you're using because I've used the Sony, the 10-18, and I've used the Laowa 9mm. There's just heavy vignetting on the edges of these images. So much so that I have to create extra nodes in DaVinci Resolve, 3 to be precise, just to get rid of that heavy vignetting on the outside of these lenses. Now, I don't know if it's specifically because of these lenses or if it's the way the A7 IV goes into APS-C mode, but I know for a fact when I shoot on the GH5S, I have zero vignetting at my widest aperture. It's wider, it's sharper, it's clears. The colors are more accurate, I believe. Like, yes, Sony does have 10-bit and the GH5S only has the 8-bit in 4K, but I still find those colors actually a little more accurate. The Sony requires a little bit more finessing to get really accurate colors. Now, the Sony A7 IV is sharper than the GH5S. I will give it that. I'm not saying there's no benefits to using this camera, but overall that sharpness is null compared to the amount of denoising you're going to have to run, and it will destroy that sharpness instantly. So I stopped using the A7 IV a long time ago and went back to my GH5S. Maybe one of these days I'll actually get that FX3, or maybe I'll hold around for a little bit longer and test some other things out, because you know me, when I make a purchase, it's going to be the right one. I'm not out there just trying to buy every piece of gear that hits the market. I'm out there trying to buy the piece of gear that works best for my workflow. So what do you think? Have you used the A7 IV? Do you have different experiences, especially with the vignetting? The hardest issue, the vignetting and the ISO noise, those two together just... words don't even come up. It's a great camera. Use it every day for photos, but real estate videography, not in my opinion. As always, keep rocking and rolling. Enjoy what you're doing. Make smart business decisions, and I will catch you next time.